Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing the F45A 4in1 ESC from T Motor. I received this ESC as a prize for placing second in the T Motor Cup, which happened last month in India. I received 2 of these ESCs as well as some props and some motors. And these ESCs were definitely the highlight out of everything I received because they've performed really well for me the past few weeks, and I'm very happy to share this review with you all. So I received 2 of them, and this one here I haven't used yet. I'm going to be putting it in a build tonight. The other one I've been running on my main quad for the past few weeks, and it's performed very, very well for me. And I think it's probably my favorite new ESC. These are all the things that you receive in the box when you get the ESC. And the ESC does come in 2 variants. This one here is the F45, so the 45 amp version. There's also a 55 amp version for those who need the extra current capabilities. So moving back to the things that you get. You receive 2 cables, which is nice. You receive the QC card, the box, some grommets. As you can tell, the ESC uses larger holes so that you can use these grommets to soft mount it. You also get some race wire, and you get 2 caps. The capacitors are 470 microfarad, 35 volt capacitors. And before we move on to the rest of the ESC, I'd just like to share that I'm quite unhappy with the race wire that they provided. Although it's a nice touch for them to provide it, it's definitely subpar in quality. It is really, really thin, and I've actually broken 2 of them right down the middle in crashes. So although they have nice big pads which make it very easy to solder, they just snap way too easily. You can see it's already bending like this. Okay, let's move on to the features of this ESC. First off, it is a 6S ESC, which means that it supports anywhere from 3 to 6S input. It is also a 32-bit ESC, and if you look on the back, you'll be able to see the F3 MCUs, which are used to control each individual ESC. There are also individual shunt resistors, which means that you can set up current limiting, and that is something that I always set up whenever I'm using a 4in1 ESC. Next, this uses the BL32 firmware, as it is a 32-bit ESC, and all the versions of the firmware that this ESC uses have something called damp light mode, which basically enables regenerative braking and helps the quad stop faster and spin up faster. So that's also something pretty nice. Next, the ESC supports all the latest protocols, right from one-shot all the way up to D-Shot 1200. And D-Shot 1200 is quite nice for racing. It's quite smooth, and I haven't had any issues with it whatsoever. Next, the ESC has a beacon functionality, which means that in the BL Suite 32, you can set up a beacon for it to start beeping after X minutes. And this helps you find a quad if you've crashed and you're unable to look at it. So I think I have my beacon set up at 3 minutes, which is quite helpful sometimes. So as you can see, the ESC has larger holes because they use this grommet here for mounting. That is quite helpful because it helps reduce some of the noise that the ESC receives, and it reduces the noise that is transmitted to the FC. And it comes with 2 cables, a large one and a small one, which is pretty nice because sometimes you have the connector on the FC may not be directly above the connector right here in your stack, so you might need a larger wire to rewire it. The last feature I would like to mention about this ESC is that it has a very nice heatsink on top. This heatsink is excellent for dissipating heat. I've been using this ESC for a few weeks now, and I haven't had any issues with motors or ESC pads or the ESC in general heating up. It's worked really well. And due to this heatsink and how big the ESC is, it actually weighs quite a bit. It is 18 grams, I believe, and 18.3 grams with the connector is what it says in the box. And this is fine, I guess, for most people, but if you are wanting to build a super ultralight build, this may not be the best ESC for that purpose. Now, I would like to move on to some of the issues I had installing this ESC on my build. because as you can see, it's a very, very large ESC. Although it's a 30 by 30 mounting system, it extends quite a bit on the top and bottom outside of that. So it's more like a 30 by 40 ESC. So this is the quad I had it running on. It's a floss. And if you can see the ESCs on the bottom, right here, it was a challenge to get this this entire stack fit on a 25mm screw. I use single individual screws to mount my entire stack, and I have the T Motor ESC on the bottom, a Revolt V2 board on top of that, and a Unify with a mounting board on top of that. So as you can see, the gap right here between the Revolt and the ESC is really slow, just a few and it's not touching, and it's it's pretty fine, but it is quite a challenge to get that fit on a 25mm screw. So I'd say if you have a 30mm screw, that would probably be better. And if you do not have as much space as I do within this build, it's going to be difficult to fit it in because of how big the ESC is vertically. Another issue is that the connector sticks out the bottom like this, so you need to use larger standoffs on the bottom, or larger spacers, as I have, because you won't be able to fit a strap inside. I was originally using smaller spacers, or a smaller standoff, the one on top right here on the bottom, but because I couldn't fit my strap, I had to swap them around, and that actually reduced the space I had to mount the rest of the components in the stack. Alright, other than that, I'm super happy with this ESC. It's performed really well. In the past few weeks, I have smashed my quad. I have broken motors, but I haven't broken this ESC. I haven't damaged the ESC in the slightest. The only thing I would be worried about is the possibility of it getting damaged physically damaged in a crash. I actually had that happen to me with an Acon 32-bit 4in1 ESC. The AK32, I think it's called. I had it actually get because of how much it sticks out the sides. I had it get damaged on one ESC. So I'm a bit worried about that happening, but I don't know, let's see. And one more thing, I actually do not like the pads on the sides. If you can see the pads, the part that you can solder on covers the entire range, the top, sides, and bottom. So because of that, the problem is the solder actually runs down the sides. And if there's solder on the entire pad and you put solder on the top, it just falls down and it makes a huge blob on the bottom. But that's not really that big a problem. You can easily take care of it. It's not really a deal breaker. So what I'm going to do is now move on to the DVR part of this video. I will discuss how well the ESC is performed and show you guys DVR at the same time. And hopefully that'll be a good review for you guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Alright guys, welcome back to the DVR part of the video. So I have a clip here of some practice I was doing the other day. As you can see, the ESC is performing really well. It's quite smooth. I haven't had any issues or any kind of desyncs with it. And I did push it in this particular DVR. I was going pretty high throttle most of the time. And once again, no issues. And I didn't have hot motors. I didn't have really the heatsink didn't really heat up, and I didn't have any issues with the pads being burning hot. So I'm really liking how the ESC is performing, and I hope that it lasts for a long time. Now this clip is another training clip of mine, except I practiced here with a couple of broken props. So the ends of 2 or 3 props were completely chipped off, and they were just in really bad condition. But as you can see, the ESC is still performing well. The flight control is also handling it pretty well. There aren't too many vibrations. Yeah, I'm really happy with the way the ESC is performed, and I can definitely recommend it to anyone who's looking for a solid ESC that is durable and gives pretty good performance. I can't wait to test out these ESCs at the next race, which is actually going to happen this weekend. So hopefully, if anything changes, I'll let you guys know. Thanks a lot for watching.